discussion and our expert panelist. Here we welcome Deepal Mistry. She is the founder of Ascent Insights and she's a sales strategist with extensive experience in customer experience and brand strategy. She has received National-wide Excellence Award Strategic Industry Leader 2022 and Global 50 Glory 2021, and she has been listed under 50 Business Leader, and she is also a member of Leaders Excellence Harvard Square and former SBO head at Glenmark Pharma. Welcome, Deepal. We are very delighted to have you here on the stage.
Thank
Uh,
you.
Thank you. Welcome, welcome. So we look forward to have great insights from know your expertise. And here we have our co-panelist Muskan Saxena. Welcome, Muskan. And she is a she's working in government and public service advisory and consultant at KPMG, and she specializes in digital strategy with a focus on government policies and public-private partnerships. She's very passionate about helping brands thrive within the tech and innovation systems. So again, welcome Muskan. We look forward to get a lot of knowledge, and add value to our audience.
Thanks a lot. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, thank you. We are also it's a pleasure to host you here. So let's get started. So please stay tuned. Anyone who is wanting to look forward to grow their brand and understand how the positioning is very important and what are the challenges and how do you meet up, to work over them, right? So, Deepan, my first question is to you. We would want to understand how can we differentiate our brand in a crowded market while aligning with evolving customer preferences throughout the product life cycle, right? Right. The markets today are so swift; things are changing just in weeks and days. Like be it Instagram, Facebook, or whatever trends are changing. So, how do we align to it?
Sure. So, Hema, that's a very pertinent question to begin the whole conversation around brand positioning. And to make it a little more simpler for our your audiences to understand in terms of brand positioning, how can we differentiate today in today's scenario? I have a few examples to share, which will kind of make the understanding a little more simple. So, I would like to show you the slides in
Sure.
terms of a short which is more to do with the relevant cases today that exist. So when we talk about brand positioning, it's a space in the mind of the consumer that a particular brand carries. So it's to do with uh, the single-minded proposition that a brand would carry in your mind, everybody's mind, but not in a different pattern, but something which the brand as a inheritedly wants to communicate about the itself. The same communication in one line is carried and is inflicted on the mind of the consumer, and that's what we called as a single-minded proposition in the mind of the consumer. That's the positioning of what we want to create inside the mind of a consumer, is what we call as a brand's positioning, if I want to do that. And how do we really go about and do that in simple words is, it's the art of creating stories. It's not just simple stories, but art of creating unforgettable stories that creates that impression, that mind. Maybe it be a 5-year-old, a 15-year-old, or a 50-year-old. If everybody asked about that brand, speaks that one line about that brand, that's what the brand positioning stands for. So, so if I have to tell you something is as simple as in one line, that's it. But behind this one line, there's a lot of complex processes that go behind, brand positioning and how to go about with it. Like if I see a paper boat today, I mean, paper boat is not just about a drink or a fruit-based drink. It's kind of recreated the whole narrative in terms of not selling drinks but selling memories. As the owner, founder Neeraj Kakkar would say, it's we don't sell drinks, we sell memories. So it's about that proposition. As we, whenever we think of paperboard, we always think of those different caricatures, the different cartoons, the different stories, and different instances that as children we used to do. You know, In our childhood, we got those memories which probably over a period of time have been lost. And that's what they want to create and resonate. So that's the reason they say we create memories, and that's what has differentiated them, in building a 1,000+ crore category in Indian tradition beverage market. And that's what one of the success factors of a unique brand positioning is what Paperboat stands for.
Exactly, exactly. Amazing, amazing people. So that's so true, right? It's not the product that sells, but the theme or the emotion that you attach to it is what that sells, and that's all branding about, right? So it could be anything, and you have very well explained for that. So, Muskan, my question, follow question to you on or can you just tell us some effective strategies for young brands to differentiate themselves in this crowded marketplace?
So see, as we are talking about brand positioning, and also like I think the audience is like women who are starting their businesses or are already there and trying to position their businesses, as Deepal also very rightly mentioned about stories as and branding that goes hand in hand. And so when it's about positioning in the saturated market or like marketing strategies, one thing primarily as a women that we really need to focus is to attach our brand with our story, because let's say in a landscape like India, where any which ways women are leading towards, it's any which ways out of society. I'm not talking about that 1-2% of the cream crowd that comes from a very fortunate background, but when we talk about women in leadership in general and women taking that foot forward, it comes with a lot of psychological, emotional and societal baggage on those shoulders. So it is very necessary first to attach and own up your story, right? Brand story is one thing and positioning is one thing, but how confident are you in that market will define a women leadership and success. And because I come from a space of public policy and government, and I work very closely with the governments, with foreign direct investments that are coming in India, what my take would always be on is that, government, our women should not really focus, and the young businesses should not really focus on how I can make it big, but also how impactful your business is. Because once your business is really creating that impact to your life is primarily to others, because you always have to lead an example. You're a mother, you're a wife, you're a daughter. As a woman, you are everything but yourself first. So it is very, very important when we talk about our brand positioning, standing out in the market, that you need to focus Indian landscape, own up your story, and then there are a lot of government backed initiatives. Like what you guys are doing here as a platform, there are a lot of incubator accelerators where government is trying to pull up these women who are passionate, who are doing something substantial, who are doing work which is impactful, and really leverage them not just nationally but globally. So going back to what Deepal also mentioned, owning up not just brand positioning but your own story, I think is the game changer when we talk about brand positioning, especially for a women.
Yeah, yeah, that's so rightly said. So, the emotions, right? Again, the emotions connect on where does this idea evolve from, and letting people know about that, and then they start relating with the brand. So, very well said, Muskan. Thank you. And definitely, it's not about only that cream fortunate crowd, but it's about the other portion on how do you position yourself, and you should be confident enough to talk about yourself and declare that this is what my journey has been, and that is where people connect with you. Yes, well said. So, Deepal, I would just want to know more on what positional strategies do you think are most effective for sustained brand relevance and during the maturity and decline stages of a product cycle. So you start up, okay, fine, but business is never a linear growth is never a linear story, right? So there are ups and so how do you what is strategies that stay in all the phases?
So, in reality, as even Muskan was sharing, there are almost monthly upward of 500 brands that are launched, and close to 75% of them fail in the first year, because it's like, we as Indians have a lot of choices at hand these days. We are thrown open to a lot more exposure in terms of the brands which are existing, not only Indian brands but international brands which are existing today in Indian markets with digital platforms. And
Sorry, I think she had some connection issues, so I think she'll be quickly joining.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Meanwhile, as we are discussing on this topic, just to fill
yeah,
in for her,
yeah, sure, sure.
as much as we understand the Indian mindset, Indian markets, if you see, because this is a channel, this is a platform where a group of women are together and helping each other, trying to create that impact. We also need to understand if we can also align with a lot of our things with what the as country where we are moving.
Yeah,
It will make a lot of our lives easier. So
yeah,
India, being a developing country, has their own, like you'll hear terms like Viksit Bharat, Make in India,
yeah.
ODOP products.
Yes,
These all
yes.
are opportunities. And being in this space, the best part is that India itself has a very huge consumption market. So you don't really have to think of exports in the first place, because you have a lot of demand within our country, right? Which is
Um,
not the case with any other country, but
True.
India as a landscape. And another
Mhm.
thing, going back to the first question as well, emotion sells in India. So whenever you talk about branding or marketing, if you see all our TV ads now, because Diwali is around, we'll start, our
hello,
advertisement will
can you
be
hear me?
related to that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Arna.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the whole positioning makes, I think she's back.
yeah, sure. Deepa, are you back? Yeah, she can join. Yeah, yeah, please, Muskan, just go ahead.
Yeah, so it is very important to see what are the focus areas of the government, because I can vouch for this that the government is doing a lot, not just for women but for micro and medium enterprises, women led. We have seen some incredible stories about women businesses in the country.
Okay.
Nika is such a great example. The lady started at 50, and you
Mhm.
see where it has gone.
Yeah,
So I think it's all about aligning our intentions and our thought, and also our efforts in the right space. We don't want our efforts to go waste.
great, great. That's
So,
really amazing. That's
and
true.
India is an opportunity, not just for women, for every businessman who's looking to expand. India is right now the opportunity. We are at the right time, at the right spot. Our incentives are amazing. The government is trying to support people who really want to make an impact. There are different schemes under different ministries, be it commerce and industries, be it women empowerment. There are a lot is happening on health, sanitation. So there is so much that is happening in the country. It's just about having your efforts channelized in the right direction, taking advantage of them, and then make it big, rather than trying to do everything on your own from scratch.
Exactly, exactly. Yes.
So
So
it's
traveling
sort of like,
along the vision of the country, that helps. Yes.
yes, yes,
So the growth is like, I mean, combined, compounded along when we are working along with the mission of the country, and
of the
definitely
country.
for developing, yeah. So yes, of the country. So for developing country like India, opportunities are huge.
Yes.
So and that we need to realize rather than going and searching for somewhere else. So,
So whenever now I visit to any of these networking events, and then we meet people, and then
yes,
I just wonder that what not is happening in the country. Like, you name a thing and it's selling, and the numbers are so surprising. They will say, oh, it's a 500 crore business, and you'll wonder, oh, was
yes.
this even an opportunity? So that is the kind of ecosystem we are in right now.
We just need
Uh,
to figure it out right in the right way and work it.
Yes, and I think platforms like yours, like it as it says, Visionary Women Circle. So I
Yes.
think platforms like this should be an echo for, and be a medium for channel, I think, those energies, so that the efforts are put in the right space.
Exactly, exactly. Well said, Muskan. That's a great insight. So I think we again have Deepal here. So Deepal, we were just discussing on how people actually should align with the country's vision. and the growth and take the benefit of this developing the no, the progressive phase of the country, and you have a lot of opportunities. So yes, Deepal, so coming back to your as you were guiding us on what positioning strategies do you think would help us for sustained business and ups and downs of your business phase of a product cycle?
Sure. So we were talking about a positioning framework that usually, brands could follow, if not in totality, of course, depending on the stage or the condition at which the brand is in. Could be at the introductory stage, a middle stage, demanding growth, or at a particular stage where probably a new, infusion of positioning or repositioning can help the brand take a step further. Every kind of stage starts with something that we call as a discovery. As
Yes,
Muskan was talking about, a lot of opportunities that are existing today in the Indian market. And
exactly.
also robotic. So it becomes very imperative for the owners of the brand to do market research and consumer research, because inside from something called a consumer research, the need base, the need gap will arise only when you get to the depth of the dirt in terms of understanding where the whole need is arising out of. Now there could be two ways of looking at the position. One is a need based position, that means a need is there and you need to unveil that need and show it to them that this is your need. Another one is
I'm
depth.
sorry to interrupt, Deepal. I think we are not able to follow what you're talking. There's, I think, connection issues. If you could just help it out, please.
Okay. Um,
I think because you're giving some amazing insights and we are not able to follow.
I was talking about
Yeah.
need based or need gap analysis when you do consumer research. In simple
Yes.
terms, when I do
Yeah.
that, I mean that there could be two types of need. One is an established need wherein the consumer knows what he wants, but he doesn't have many options to fulfill that. And that's where your brand can fill in that gap. Second is a need which is existing, but your consumer does not know that there is a need. So you unveil that need and tell him, look, this is the need which probably you would have in future, and my brand is here to solve it proactively for you. So you don't face that problem. So you've got two kinds of needs, and that is where your different stages of your brand positioning will work. So that will come from a deep competitor analysis, a deep consumer insight and research, and as we were saying, and Nuskan was also touching upon, a lot of cultural, emotional, and financial insights that exist in terms of the emotional power and the purchasing parity that is there in the country. So I think that is one of the stages of discovery as we talk. There are different stages. It then goes to defining a brand purpose, who's your target audience, what's your brand personality. And then after you know all of this, you come to something called as brand differentiation. That means, how am I different from my competition? In today's world of exposure, we have an information overload which is existing. If
Yes.
you log on to Amazon, you click a product, you selected that product, but at the bottom you will see at least 4 to 5 different options of the same product being shown to you. So that is how a consumer's mind would still get confused whether the product which I choose is right, or I have four more options. So I'm spoiled for choices. In such a situation, I need to define a USP, which is my unique selling proposition, which will make my brand stand out from the competition. And that's where your emotional narratives and stories will come into play. And last but not the least is how I deliver those stories. Is it in terms of experience? Is it in terms of communication? Is it in terms of channels? Is it in terms of emotions? So, in what way am I telling those stories? That is where the entire positioning framework comes for. Whether you are a startup, whether you are established 5 to 10 years into your business, or you are at a mature stage in your brand you still need to redefine a position so that you can grow further.
Yes,
Hope
yes.
that
Yeah, Deepal. Yes, that's really true. So the your site clearly says that the four stages where the first thing is about your research analysis about competitors, market, and the consumer, and the cultural insights are again very important. To discover your product and things. And every stage this has to be a ongoing task. It's not that in the beginning you do and leave it. So be it in the higher side or on the downside of the product cycle, you need to keep working on this because it keeps changing time to time. That's so nice. And definitely we need to ensure that we don't deviate from the purpose of the brand and we work on the value proposition. So what differentiates us is unique benefits. So if you can share your slide, Deepal, it helps to summarize. uh, Yes, the unique benefits and the proof that it works and what are the advantages over the other options available, the most important thing, and definitely your story that we connect. And beyond this, if you want to stay in the market any stage, delivery is again the most crucial thing. I think people has very well summarized that. So, Muskan, I would want to understand from you, how do you think the government policies facilitate the growth of the young brands, particularly in the tech and innovation sectors?
See, again, first of all, private public partnership in general is very fruitful, again looking at India's this thing, because government can provide infrastructure, regulatory reform support, plug and play models, backing, tax benefits, subsidiaries that are required for a business to start and kick off. When we talk about innovation and what do you call it, as like you start a new thing which has never been, startups that are now focusing on innovation persistently. Niti Ayog, if if the audience would be happy to know, there's this thing called Atal Incubation Centers. There are accelerators, there are tinkering labs, there are MSME initiatives, there are Startup India initiatives. What they do is they're already promoting innovation in different sectors. So let's say if you are doing some innovation in the area of fashion, you're doing some innovation in the area of science, you're doing some innovation in the area of electronics, there are already policies are there in place. You just, again, going back to the point, you just need to channelize, make that extra effort of researching, as Deepal also in her slide is very clearly mentioned that how important research is. You just can't wake up one day and say that, okay, this is the kind of work that I want to do, just because you are passionate about. Well enough, passion is also very important, but you need to understand the ecosystem around it. You need to understand, is it viable, is it something that you'll be able to make money. You will see, as people in her other slide said, I think 78% of the startup fail eventually when they start. Why is it that? Because there is no right approach towards it. You are not planning it in the first place of, what is my market size, what is the demand, where is the money coming from, where do I have to put money in marketing, is it target or oriented or not, is the delivery possible. Let's say if your product is some food and beverage, how well you can expand it. You just can't be delivering it from your home. So things like that, go, everything will depend on how better and proper you are in terms of your research. Coming back to government policies, as I mentioned, there's Niti Ayog, there's Startup India. There are many more. If you go on the Ministry of Women Development's website, you'll see a lot of initiatives just there for women oriented. If not women, there is MSME. Uh, whole uh, whole ecosystem is there for Make in India. There is ODOP. There is now GI indicators. If you are into that culture, art, craft businesses, you can reap all those benefits given the research is at place. And the government has these industrial parks now developing in different clusters. So let's say if you are in if you are in Tamil Nadu, there's an industrial park there. You don't need to worry about things like, where will I open my business, where should I. There are dedicated clusters, there are dedicated industrial park. There are I think every city will have a IT park. Every city, like you see how Gurgaon has just changed Delhi, how they have developed this whole DLF eco tech parks. Bombay has such. Bangalore is a Silicon Valley. So every, and that now it's going down to the tier two, tier three cities as well, because now they also understand the importance of startups.
Yeah. Yes. Amazing. So yes, this initiatives, knowing them, working with incubators and accelerators, helps. Again, your research has to be there. Otherwise, it's not easy that you just have a passion. It's not just you have a passion and you just get started with entrepreneurship. A lot of people mistake entrepreneurship for just having passion and jumping into it. But there's a lot of background work that needs to be done before you get into it, because it's going to be about persisting in the journey with all these things, and not that you just take off in the first year and it doesn't
I
work
think
that
the
way.
normal societal barrier is that women start businesses just out of passion and they're
Mhm.
not really viable. So I think it's
Exactly.
time that we change that narrative also, given with the right research, with the right backing, that we are just not doing this because now we don't have anything else. It's because this is what we really want to do.
Exactly. So evolving along with the economy is what we're doing, and
I think
that's amazing.
as Muskan was saying, the perception of a women-led business being not organized or structured is a big thing when you go to VCs or for funding or even to banks for loans. For example, the first thing perception, oh, it's a solopreneur, it's a woman-led solopreneur, it's a woman-led business. Then of course there would not be a structure to the whole thing. There would not be a business game plan. There would not be a future plan, plan A, plan B. So all these kind of things also need to be changed. Uh, Women-led businesses, if we have a proper channelized business blueprint to take across, not only for right now, but if my business grows to a 50 crore in the next 3 years or next 5 years, how am I going to manage both in terms of people, in terms of process, in terms of products, and in terms of promotion? All those
People, we are not able to hear you. Sorry.
uh, uh, like when we go, we need to be ready in terms of a
Yes.
blueprint which not only business say expands to about 50 crore in the next 3 years or 100 crore in the next 5 years, how am I positioned to take that in terms of people, promotion, or pricing, product? Am I geared up with all of those things? They may sound very simplistic, but I think a blueprint of a plan A and plan B for both a 3 year and a 5 year plan needs to be there.
Yes, yes. So well said, Deepal. That's so true. And I think women need to also come forward to understand the requirements of the business, and not to think of कि जितना हाथ में पैसा है, I have to just stick to that, and we should be open to expanding, taking assistance from be it government incubators or accelerators or chartered accountants. Work with them, sit with them. We have tax consultants, right? Now women tax consultants are also there, so collaborate with them, work with them, and ensure to set up from day one. And it is a myth that it takes a huge investment. A lot of registrations like Startup India and MSME, they take just a very minimal investment, and it will regularize your business, right? Having a normal proper current account, having a proper registration on the shops and establishments act, all these are basic things, but it will give a proper structure to your business. So work with professionals, seek help, open up, and join such communities, and get it regulated from day one. ताकि future में you are not no thinking कि I'm lost. When your business is almost growing and there you get stuck, it is very difficult, right? Because nobody would help. The moment you go to even a simple payment gateway, small any small glitch is also there. They'll ask for a proof registration, or they will not help you, right? So take aid, seek help, and work with that. So amazing. So Deepal, how should we balance the focus between personal brand and business brand? So now personal branding is has almost evolved and evolving also. So how do we focus and maximize the market impact? What are the do you think are the key metrics or methods that we can use effectively measure the success of our brand positioning in influencing the customer perceptions? Deepan? Yeah. So Muskan, you can add some insights on what does this public and private partnerships, as you said, they really play a very important role in growing the business, and we have a lot of leverage that we get from the
Yeah.
government. Yeah.
So
So if you
I'll
can,
I'll 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 try to navigate the question to your previous question on personal brand and how
exactly.
does
Yeah.
that work. Just my opinion on it is that at this given point when social media is at the center of everything, to be very honest, I don't think you can really separate your personal brand from your brand, brand.
Yes.
If you
Yes.
see, a lot of now businesses are on the basis of their personal brand, so you don't really trust, because now amplification of an information is so much that people would trust you rather than the product.
Exactly.
Gone are the days when we wouldn't know who's the owner of the company. Now everybody literally knows who's. So I think Ratan Tata is such a big example why I think the 2000s and 1990s generation would trust Tatas is because you'll see Ratan Tata, or you will trust Reliance because Mukesh Ambani, or that you see Neeta Ambani. I think it is now very difficult to separate the two, and so it is very
Yeah.
important that you speak your brand language, or you,
Yes.
because you are your brand first. If you're not
Yeah.
talking about it, no one else is talking about it first. Second, never be like hesitant. It's your baby after all. Whatever you're
Yeah.
starting is, it's your baby. If you are not owning it up, then who will? And if you are not confident about it, you just can't be like, oh no, I'll not be there on. I think I've seen a lot of brands say that no, we don't need faces on the brand page and all. So if,
Mm.
and now people won't trust you if you don't have a face.
Yeah, as you said, no, as we started the discussion with telling that personal story, emotions people connect, then when you are not there, where does that emotions and your struggle or your journey come from? That is, after that is where they will, oh, so lovely. So what is she doing? And then they
So
come to
if
the
you
brand.
see Shark Tank, why
Hmm.
Shark Tank is such a big hit, and I have personally bought so many things from the brands that I've just heard their stories on Shark Tank, and I was
Hmm.
so impressed by the stories. I said, oh no, I have to give this brand a shot. Like, no matter
Yeah.
if I'm using some particular thing from a brand since forever, but still I want to try this because the story is so impressive. But I think
Hmm.
people would be able to shed more light on that. The
I
Yes.
was about to pick up that example of Shark Tank in both aspects. For people who are promoting or asking, for a business proposition there, putting themselves out there, and even the sharks themselves. If you see, the sharks themselves are building their own brand, and probably that's one of the reasons that their equities have increased in terms of
Yes.
their personal. You see, Sugar Cosmetics, you see, Lenskart, so they themselves, when they are going for their own round of funding is higher and above, the face value is because they are sitting as sharks there and putting their own face to the whole brand. Then
Yes.
when you see Piyush Bansal coming into his own advertising, or Shadi.com person coming and playing a hero in his own advertising, I think it all speaks about owners now taking that leadership in real sense of the term, being promotional leaders. They always
Yes.
were leaders, but I think in terms of being the face, being out there with next generation of owners and leaders are not shying away from it. And I think it's got to do a lot with the digital medium that has put us, all of us, the Zoom probably has made us more comfortable doing it.
So now people look who is the person behind this idea, like the political parties. Who is the person behind this political party, right? So that is how the votes win. So they look for who is behind. Yeah. So the ideology and everything. So even the jewelry shop, no jewelry brands, like generally we don't know who is the owner of this. Now I see in TV the big jewelry brands. Now the owners are coming in front and saying, "I am there, Happy Diwali," and they are wishing, and that's how the advertisements are going.
And in fact, Hema, one of the oldest examples of a promoter coming upfront, is NDH owner. I mean,
Yeah, yes,
Correct.
MDH.
Yeah.
like
Correct.
Dadaji coming and putting himself up there and saying MDH, that itself gives the confidence of, the recipe, the tradition. And I think that's something which is commendable in terms of his age and stature coming up, at that kind of early stage in promotional
Yeah. So
leaders.
that shows the need, no? That shows the importance. They have to break their comfort zone and they'll have to show up and say, "Hi, I am the person." So,
And
and
more
you
than that, it creates a brand credibility in the market. You
exactly.
know, your brand is much much more credible, and then it creates like a brand recall value. Like you'll just, I like you will just see that person's face somewhere or the other. Like same as Parle G's girl,
Yeah.
Amul. You create
Yes.
that brand value. Amul is such a big example of a women-led business, and then you see how they have positioned themselves. They
Yeah.
never position themselves any less than, oh, it's just like some NGO kind of work that they are doing. No, they have already always positioned themselves as a brand, Amul. And now whenever you see that girl, you will recall that she's the Amul girl or the Paleji girl. So I think now we are at times when we can't just separate both our personal and brand positioning.
Yeah. Yes, Deepal, you want to say something?
No, so women-led businesses, I think Nykaa and Sugars of the world are examples of such, narratives being challenged, traditional narratives being challenged, and with the owner's face also being put out of the business with the proper positioning and branding exercise that is done. I think they have changed the game of either being, Indian skin tone centric brand, Nykaa, Sugar,
Yeah. Yes.
or something which cannot be sold in India, like makeup over online and cannot touch and feel. That whole narrative has been changed by Nykaa also. So I think these things are very important when it comes to the right kind of storytelling and positioning.
Yes, yes, yes. So well summarized. And if you just to add on a question, and what do you think, can help people, or what is stopping people? Why do you think people are hesitant to come as a personal brand, to talk about their brand? So when they know that it is very important, what could be the inhibitions or things or risks that it could be stopping people from combining the personal brand and the brand? What do you think?
See, at the outset, if I'm talking about women-led businesses, since it's a forum here that way,
Yeah.
nevertheless, one is the fear of being judged, whether it is a startup, whether it is at whatever stage in the business.
Hmm.
Probably the fear of being judged is something which stops the owners from being out there. You know. Secondly, it could also be the fear of, if at all the acceptance of a person or the owner is not there from the public, his brand will not be purchased. That
Exactly.
again is something which as at the back of the mind, being there. And third is the confidence level, in terms of, you could be a very good businessman, you could be a great person when it comes to, strategizing, sales, marketing, everything, inside a conference hall or within your own circle and influence of office or people. But when it comes to facing consumers or unknown, people that way, many a times women are not so confident around. And that also could be one of the factors of not being out there. Tech, not
Yes.
being tech savvy in cases of rural businesses could also be a deterrent in certain cases. So I think these three, four factors, maybe if you know, somebody wants to add on to this, Muskan, I think.
Yeah. So Muskan, you would want to add some insights on this?
So not necessarily. I see it as a challenge, but I think now the as I said, social media era. Now we are not confined to the market. Now you're just not confined to a store. Online marketplaces are there. You sell your products online. Another thing which I see nowadays, really taking lead is the community led businesses. So a person really talks about, let's say, a cause, or let's say maybe something like Ayurveda. So I have
Yeah.
seen a lot of people, they started with speaking about Ayurveda, and then maybe 2 years down the line they would have their own Ayurveda brand. you know
Yes.
and I think Baba Ramdev is an incredible example for this. He sold yoga all his life, and when Patanjali, he introduced Patanjali, I have seen so many people just buying Patanjali, not that there were no other Ayurvedic brands in the market, but just because Baba Ramdev had such a strong identity, and they really vouch for it. And why people really, I think now, I have seen China, in Korea, how their marketing is, they are selling products on live streaming. So literally, like, that is also the way that now people are selling their products. And like, they would just keep trying products online, and people will keep buying. There'll be a team, they'll say, okay, we want this, and then shop sold. So you see that where markets are now being so innovative, that now I think now I don't feel like going to malls anymore, because it's so easy to buy products online, it's so easy to return the products, it's much more less hustle, right? Like, why should I take the pain of traveling somewhere in the traffic, then spending an hour in the shop, then buying a product, when I can just do it on a click? So why we say brand, and why we say that people are still hesitant here, a very important role which I feel is, again, like, a community plays. Something called soft skills needs to be inculcated from a very nascent stage, not just for an entrepreneur, but in general for a person, because I think that is where we lack. We don't know how to communicate well, and that is why we are not able to share our stories well.
Yes.
Going back to, again, the first thing that we discussed in this talk.
Exactly.
So I think soft skills are so missing. Once we know, okay, this is clear, it's just about that motivation of pulling one person up and say, no, you can do it, and then actually you'll see that person doing it. But do we know who needs that help? Maybe not, until,
No.
like, you really, so I think that soft skill part still we are really missing on. But I think with the efforts, and with the social media, with the accessibility to things, platforms like community based platform, these networks that now we see, I think CII, FICCI, ASSOCHAM, these federations are also doing quite well there. They're also bringing a lot of communities together. I think that gap should be filled, but I think we still see a long way to be there, where the right mentorship is going to the right people.
Yes. Yes.
Like here in terms of uh, being the face without literally it's artificial intelligence.
Deepal, I'm sorry, I'm not able to hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying nowadays you can still be the face and not literally be the face yourself. Is through artificial intelligence. Your voice, your tone, your face, your entire video, everything can be cloned and done with the help of artificial intelligence without you actually doing it. So we have use cases wherein we've helped clients who are shy, enough facing a camera and talking about their product. We know it's important because it's the USP of the brand. It's the trust base of the owner. But in such cases, we have resorted to technologies wherein we have cloned voice, and that person's video output is exactly like how that person is in real time, like you and me, without the opposite client or the consumer knowing that it is not the person. So
Yeah.
such things are available as technologies there today, and it's up to the knowledge of people to come across and help these businesses with these technologies.
Yes. So just people need to be aware of these developments, and don't think कि मुझे नहीं आता है, cannot present myself, and actually leverage such developments in AI. So it's all there. You just need to seek and ask for no help, and see how you want to grow. So that's I think mentors and mentors can actually provide these insights and guide. All you need to do is to be part of such communities where you get such guidance, as Muskan rightly said. I think it was an amazing discussion knowing on how important personal branding is for a startup, for a business, and importantly, for women-led business, where you're coming out of no such a long journey with so many responsibilities, where you need to ensure that you are the prime, and that is where then you grow your business. And that story, the more you tell on how you have molded yourself and brought yourself so far, that really sells, because people attach the emotions, your efforts, your intentions, and your vision. That is where personal branding comes. So before you become a brand, like Baba Ramdev's example was absolute no example of this. Before you become a brand, how being a personal brand actually helps you elevate and with feels like an effortless branding then later when you want to launch another arena of business. And like people said, you don't have to hesitate about currently not having soft skills or a lot of things, and AI is there to help still. But definitely, it's money or efforts. So nothing can replace the human touch. That's true. But AI generates results. Nobody can identify that it's not you, and that's also true. So reach out to such communities like Visionary Women Circle, no Startup India, and find accelerators, find experts, digital marketing experts, no chartered accountants, consultants who can really help and guide you. And again, one more important point is that it has been assumed that a women-led business is not organized, right? Very well highlighted. Let's get away from this no presupposition that it is going around, and start organizing your business from day one. What stops you? It doesn't take too much of investment initially. You don't have to really go for a company registration. You have sole proprietorship registration, Udyam Aadhaar, and all this stuff, current account, just the basic things, right? And then step by step you see that you get organized, so that when your vision is getting better, there it doesn't become a hurdle, because it's again painful. So from day one, having a proper brandings, securing your brand name and things, doing such stuff really helps. And so thank you, Muskan. Thank you, Deepal, for adding so much of value to our audience. I hope everyone has benefited from this session on knowing the importance of how you can actually brand yourself personally, show up, talk about your stories, and that will sell. For that, people will buy your product, not for the product that you're offering. They're not going to buy the product, but what is your story behind the product? Why do you want people to buy, and how are you wanting them to take benefit out of it? So whenever an entrepreneur comes, I always say add a theme to your product. Yes, you have a product, but it needs to have a theme and story, and people should be able to be connecting with that, and that is where they will buy for that purpose. So talk about your purpose, talk about your vision about creating the product, and then your task is done. Amazing. Any other insights you would want to add, Muskan, Deepal, for our
No,
audience?
I would of course like to thank you and for the whole community for organizing such conversation. I think they are really much needed, and I hope that this conversation also helps people. And thank you so much for juicing out the whole 48-hour conversation the way that you have put it across. I think it was well needed, and you very well concluded it. At the end, like if there's anybody who's looking, who's still navigating towards how to reach out to these government initiatives and what are there, feel free. Like I'll be happy if I can be of any help to them in any way possible. So that will be my last comment on it, and thank you so much. You all are doing an incredible job, and looking forward to see your initiative going much more far and bigger in a bigger way. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Muskan. Nice, so nice of you. Deepa, you would want to add any insights?
Thank you so much. What you summed up in very authentic.
Deepa, actually, we cannot hear anything.
Can you hear me now?
No, no, not at all.
Fine. I would say authentic positioning wins. create cultural connections which solves a girl problem with emotional stories. And that's what we observe sometimes. So about you and what about yourself. So such amazing brands, growth stories outside.
I think Deepal's connection has some trouble. So thank you, Deepal, for that amazing insights. So thank you everyone for staying there and watching this. You can all put in the chat box what else would you want to know, any queries you have that you would want to ask and need our panelists to answer. We would definitely answer to you in 24 hours. Thank you for being an amazing audience, and hope we added value to your business and to your growth. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you.